Okay, I'm going to take you through my recipe on how to make buffalo cauliflower. Obviously, first, I'll take you through the ingredients. You will need a head, or you can do 2 heads of cauliflower. Then you're going to need some either all-purpose flour, and if you have gluten issues, you can use almond flour, flax, any other kind of non-wheat based flours. You will need hot sauce, garlic powder, salt and pepper, a couple bowls, some measuring cups, a cookie sheet, and preheat your oven to 425 to 450, and some butter. So that's it. Flour, garlic, salt, pepper, hot sauce, butter, and cauliflower. Okay, I have all the cauliflower washed, prepped. I cut it up. I tend to cut mine, and I like to leave a little bit of the stem on it to give it that chicken wing feel, but you can cut them closer to the floret and not leave as much as I left there, but I like them to look a little more like wings when they're done. So then the next step would be, in a large bowl, we are going to put, I'd say a little less than a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup of flour. Like I said, you can use any flour you'd like, whether that's a more gluten-free option or your standard all-purpose flour. I'm going to start with 3/4 of a cup. It usually depends on how well this is going to coat your cauliflower. Like if you're doing 2 heads or 1 head or 1.5 heads, or if you have a lot of florets or not a lot of florets. Actually, I'm going to use, that was just about, I'd say, a full cup of flour. Now, flour in the bowl. Now you have to season your flour. So I would use, let's call it a teaspoon or so of garlic powder. If you want to measure it, I just like to eyeball it, but I would say about a teaspoon of garlic powder. But definitely want to season your flour. I put a lot of garlic powder and mix it up. Some pepper, salt and pepper also, along with your garlic flour. Definitely season up your flour. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm just sprinkling some pepper in there. And at this point, I also, anytime I use pepper, I add a little salt. So it doesn't have to be a lot of salt, but I just add a little bit of salt in there. Good. Now, just mix it up. I'm going to mix it with my hand. After mixing it, sometimes I just give it a little look to see if I'm crushing if there's any little balls. Make sure it's nice and thin. And smelling it, it smells like garlic. That's what I want. Then I mix almost equal parts of water in with the amount of flour I put in. So I'm going to put about a cup of water in this. You want this batter to be a little thin, a little on the thin side. So there's a cup of water going in the bowl. And let me get a fork. So I got a fork. Stir that up. Get the batter. It's going to be on the thin side. You want it to coat and stick to the cauliflower. So that's my consistency. Almost equal parts flour and water. If it's too thick, obviously add a little more water. If it's too thin, you can add a little more flour, but definitely season it. So there we go. Now to that, we are going to add the cauliflower. So in they go, and we're going to stir it around to get them all evenly coated. And for me, it's not that important to have the whole cauliflower floret covered, but I look like, if there's some areas where it's dry, not that important. This is just going to give it that extra little crunch to make it taste more like a real wing. But I think we're getting a good coating. So this was 1 head of cauliflower with about 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of water, and some seasoning. And it looks like I'm getting a good coat on it. Good coating. Not sure if you could see that. They are. Oh, I can smell that garlic. I like that. So I got the oven preheated to 450. There it is. In this pan, I'm going to hit it with a little cooking spray. And a trick I learned from Dave Ballot was do it over your sink. And now we have cooking spray. And in go your cauliflower. Oops. One go. All right. And just evenly spread them. So you want them evenly spread. You don't want them really on top of each other. You want them all to get brown and nice. I probably could have spread this across 2 trays, but I'm going to go with it. All right. So start them off in the 425 to 400 degree oven. Do it for 10 minutes, the first shot, and then we're going to flip them, do it another 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. All right, and we're back. As you can see, I just took the cauliflower out of the oven, 10 minutes. It's starting to brown a little bit on the tips, and that's a good sign that they're cooking. So now we have to flip them. So you could flip them couple of different ways. One, you could just flip them one at a time and just kind of flip all these over, or get out the big spatula and see without making a mess if you can flip them all over in one fell swoop like that. There you go. Flip, flip, flip. Flip them all over, and then you're going to put them back in the oven for 10 minutes. Also, while that's happening, you're going to get a saucepan and put a 1/4 cup of hot sauce and 2 tablespoons of butter and melt it, which is going to get ready for step 3. All right, so I have the hot sauce and 2 tablespoons of butter going on the stovetop to melt the butter. Butter is optional, but it's more of the traditional hot sauce. My aunt also used to put a little bit of soy sauce in there for salt. But you can either just hot sauce and butter, or if you want to add a little extra, you could put a little soy sauce in there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that melted and prepared for step 3. Okay, part 3. These just cooked another 10 minutes, so it's been a total of 20 minutes. 10 minutes on one side, 10 minutes on the other. Step 3 is to coat these in the hot sauce. So I have the hot sauce there where I melted butter and hot sauce. And sometimes I throw these all back in the bowl and I toss them in the bowl. But in this case, I feel like I'm going to just use a pastry brush or whatever you call these, and I'm just going to baste these with the hot sauce. But you can put them back in the bowl, toss them in the bowl with the hot sauce, because we're going to bake them again for another 10 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and coat these with the hot sauce like that, rather than put them in the bowl and toss them, and put them back in the oven for another 10 minutes, and then we'll see what the end results are. That should give us the delicious looking mock hot wing made from cauliflower. So I'm going to go ahead and finish coating these, put them back in the oven, and I'll start the video again to show you the final product. All right, Auntie Shell. They've been in the oven for another 10 minutes. They are all nice and toasty brown and roasted delicious. So I was thinking also, if you were making these for the kids and they don't like the hot sauce, you could probably do these barbecue style, you know, at the third step, instead of putting hot wing sauce on it, put barbecue sauce. You could do teriyaki, or I bet you could do that mesquite marinade that we love to put on chicken and that kind of stuff. So very versatile depending on whatever you like. I know you could also adjust the heat if you don't like you don't like them very hot. I would say put less hot sauce and maybe, like I said, add some soy sauce or something else there. But there you go. There is my buffalo cauliflower recipe. Enjoy!